Welcome, everyone. We'll give it another minute or two before we get started here. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get started. Just a reminder to everyone that this session is being recorded. So thanks so much for joining me for the first session of this year's Travel Week. My name is Kat, and I'm a business development manager based in Brooklyn, New York. I've been with the company for about 6.5 years, and I oversee a number of our markets, including New York, the Southeastern US, Portugal, the Caribbean, Japan, the Middle East, and North Africa. And today I'm going to be talking about our hotel selection process. So we'll take a look at how hotels become featured on the Michelin Guide and Tablet hotels, the specific criteria used to evaluate them for inclusion, and what you can do if you represent a hotel that you would like to be featured in our selection. So we'll dig into each of these topics, and if you have any questions throughout, please go ahead and write them in the chat so that we can discuss them at the end. We'll go to the next slide. Okay, so first, just a bit about who we are as a company. Tablet was born 25 years ago with a mission to improve the sometimes overwhelming experience of travel planning by offering our users a curated and vetted selection of incredible hotels. We want the search and booking process to be seamless, inspiring, and even fun so that we can create a fabulous experience from planning to checkout. And in a related way, the Michelin Guide, since much earlier on, has offered something similar, famously providing followers with a guide recommending the most exceptional restaurants across an increasing number of destinations. And in 2018, Michelin purchased Tablet, and we joined forces. Tablet became the official hotel selection of the Michelin Guide, and now all of the hotels featured on Tablet are also featured and recommended by the Michelin Guide, right alongside our restaurant recommendations. This provides our global audience with a unified portfolio showcasing the very best hotels and restaurants together so that our users can find amazing places that they might not have found on their own. I'll go to the next, please. Okay, so to get a sense of our current hotel selection as of today, we currently feature 6,428 hotels worldwide. They're located in 137 countries, and almost all of these hotels can be booked from the Michelin Guide and Tablet platforms. We feature the highest number of hotels in the United States and France. Here you can see the 10 countries where we feature the most hotels. And we're constantly updating our selection all over the world. So we're adding hotels to ensure that we recommend the very best. And for the same reason, we also remove hotels that may no longer be a fit. So it's very much a living and continuously vetted portfolio. About 98% of our entire hotel selection is bookable in real time, meaning that hotels can connect rates and inventory either directly using their channel manager, or we can connect with them indirectly through an affiliate connection with Booking.com. That being said, our priority is curation first and foremost. So to maintain the integrity of our selection and ensure that our recommendations are strictly quality focused, we inevitably feature a small number of hotels that cannot be booked in real time. And I mention this because it's important to note that our hotel recommendations do not consider a hotel's ability or even desire to be bookable on our platform. Hotels are selected for inclusion strictly based upon the quality of the stay, and I'll get into what we mean by that in the next slide. Okay, so what does it mean for a hotel to be a fit for our selection, and who makes that decision? Every hotel we feature is handpicked by an anonymous team known as the inspectors. The inspectors are at the heart of our selection activities. They're full-time employees of the company, and they work anonymously and independently from the commercial teams. So they are strictly focused on the curation of our portfolio as opposed to sales and marketing or managing our OTA platform. And since they're responsible for all things selection, the inspectors are also tasked with selecting the recipients of our most prestigious awards, including Michelin stars for restaurants and for hotels, the Michelin Key, which I'm sure many of you may already be familiar with. The Michelin Key is our newest distinction. It was released just this past year, and it identifies and celebrates the best of the best hotels around the world. The key is exclusively for hotels. Recipients can be awarded between 1 and 3 keys, with 3 keys being the highest honor, reserved for the most exceptional properties. So you can think of it as the hotel equivalent of the Michelin star. Keys will be awarded annually, and all hotels in all destinations around the world are eligible for consideration. And that's regardless of whether or not they're already included in our selection. So in order to consistently evaluate hotels, the inspectors use an established set of criteria, which is applied when deciding whether or not to recommend a hotel or when deciding to award 1, 2, or even 3 Michelin keys. Now go to the next slide, please. Okay, so as a business development manager, I'm not one of the inspectors, but I can tell you about their selection criteria, which are listed here. The inspectors evaluate hotels according to their excellence in interior design and architecture, individualism and personality, their ability to consistently provide high-quality service and comfort, the hotel's contribution to the local experience and community, and whether or not the hotel delivers an extraordinary experience for its price. They also give special consideration to hotels that provide high-quality culinary experiences, particularly hotels with Michelin-starred restaurants or restaurants with star potential, and they also pay close attention to hotels demonstrating a strong commitment to sustainability. You'll note that these selection criteria do not include any requirements for a hotel to have signed a contract, to have a specific type of connectivity, or to work with us in any way. To maintain impartiality, we, on the commercial side of the company, have no involvement or influence over selection decisions. This process is overseen exclusively by the inspectors, and again, it's strictly based on these selection criteria. I'll take the next slide, please. Okay, so now that you know how hotels are evaluated, you may be wondering where the inspectors identify hotels for evaluation and potential inclusion, or even for key distinction. So they use a variety of sources, and they can basically be grouped into 2 main categories. The first category includes hotels that are sourced by the inspectors themselves based on their own research and destination-specific expertise. And the second category includes hotels that are sourced through our application process, which allows hoteliers to provide information about their properties directly to the inspectors. So for this first category, it's important to mention again that the inspectors are an international team with regional hubs. They're responsible for both hotels and restaurants, and they specialize in the specific destinations they cover, which are local to them, and this is key. It means that they have a strong understanding of regional styles and the hotel and restaurant landscape in their dedicated markets, and crucially, that they have the ability to conduct anonymous evaluations through travel and firsthand experience. And of course, they're also paying close attention to industry publications and to the many recommendations we receive from our colleagues and our users. And all of this is valuable information that is taken into account when the inspectors are selecting which hotels to review. But the evaluation itself is entirely independent. I'll go to the next, please. Okay, so as hoteliers, it's important for you to know about our application process because this is the avenue you can take to ensure that your hotel is reviewed by our inspectors for potential inclusion in the selection. Hoteliers who are interested in having their property featured can submit our application form, which is sent directly to the inspectors. From there, following a preliminary review of the submission, the inspectors may decide to proceed with scheduling a stay at the hotel. And regarding that stay, this is quite similar to the procedure they follow for restaurants. The inspectors pay full price, and they won't identify themselves as Michelin employees. Once their assessment is complete, if the application is approved, the commercial side of the company is notified. And from there, a dedicated business development manager will reach out to the contact who originally submitted the application so that we can work with you to begin the process of creating a listing for the hotel, discussing connectivity and a potential contract, so that ideally the property can also be made bookable on the Michelin Guide and Talbot Hotels platforms. In the event that an application is not approved, the inspectors will advise that same contact via email. This process, from submission to decision, can often take up to 5 months, and this is largely based on the inspector's travel schedule. And I do want to note a couple of things about this process. The first is that the details of the inspector's evaluation are kept fully confidential. So no additional feedback is shared other than the outcome of the review. And the other important detail to mention is that there is no application to be considered for the Michelin Key. So if you represent a hotel that is already featured in our selection, there's no need to submit an application. You can be assured that your hotel is already being considered for the key distinction. And I'll go to the next slide. Okay, so if you represent a hotel that you'd like to propose for inclusion, we strongly encourage you to submit an application. And you can access that form from a couple of places. You can go directly to our extranet login page or extranet.tablethotels.com and select apply here, no login required. And you can also get the form from the Tablet Hotels homepage. Just scroll to the bottom of the page and select hoteliers on the left. Once you complete the form, you'll receive a confirmation email and you'll hear back as soon as the results are available to share. If you represent multiple properties, each hotel will need its own submission in order to be considered. And this is the case even if we already feature a related property. And if you're unsure whether or not the property may have been reviewed in the past, the best approach would be to submit a new application, as this ensures that we have the most up-to-date information on file. And if you know that an application was submitted in the past, but the hotel wasn't chosen at that time, you can always resubmit after 1 year has passed since the inspector's decision was announced. And we would encourage you to do this, especially in the event that any substantial changes have taken place since the hotel last applied. So to those of you who have applied in the past or plan to do so in the future, we welcome and appreciate your submissions. And for everyone here, I do hope that this session has been informative. And with that, I'll take a look and see if we had any questions in the chat, but please feel free to add any others and we'll go ahead and discuss. Okay, I don't see any questions here, but please feel free. We'll take a couple of minutes. You're welcome to add them to the chat here. You're also welcome to reach out to us following the call if you have more specific questions about your property. All right. Okay, well, thank you so much, everyone. Please, again, don't hesitate to reach out to us. You can respond directly to the invitation that you received for this session, and we'll get back in touch with you to answer any questions.
Hey, Kat, we do have
Yes.
a couple of questions in
Oh,
the
okay.
Q&A. Someone did ask, how often are inspections regarding Michelin keys for hotels done?
That's so strange. I can't see the questions in the chat. How often are inspections for Michelin keys? Yes. So that's an annual process. So hotels are evaluated to receive a Michelin key for a year. So if they receive the key again the next year, that will require another evaluation. And please let me know if there are other questions.
Yeah. So someone did also ask, I actually want to know if the recording is going to be available. Yes, so we will make this recording available on the Hey Summit site. So we will let you know once that's available. And then it looks like we had a couple more questions about inspectors in the chat.
And I do see those coming in now. I see a question about how many inspectors the Michelin Guide employs. And I actually wouldn't be able to tell you the answer to that confidently.
Yeah, because they're like somewhat mysterious,
Yes.
anonymous. We don't know the exact number. We can tell you that they are full-time employees, professional reviewers. Most of them have years or decades worth of experience with hospitality. So they are very well-versed.
Yes. Yeah, they are truly anonymous to our team as well. So those are specific details that aren't even shared with us. I would be curious to know as well. Who are the inspectors for keys? Nikki just answered the question. Okay. And I see a question, do we need to apply again for next year if we got a key this year? That's a great question. And the answer is no. You won't need to apply at all to receive a key. So the application is strictly for hotels to be featured in the selection. So submitting that application won't have any impact on a hotel's eligibility to be considered for a key. Okay.
Yeah, and then we also had a couple more questions about the Maldives and Istanbul for keys. I don't know the exact timeline for either of those locations. I don't know, Kat, if you know any more than I do about those two locations.
Yeah, that's also a really good question. For the key, so this is actually a award that will be announced annually and collectively for the entire globe.
Yeah.
So the Michelin keys announced in Istanbul and the Maldives will be announced along with all of the keys for the rest of the world in 2025. And every destination is eligible for keys.
Yeah.
These are great questions.
We have one here. Do we need to apply again for next year if we got a key this year?
Yes, so no need to apply for a key at any point. So the application is just for hotels to be featured in the selection. But hotels that are already in the selection and even hotels that aren't in the selection are eligible to be considered for keys at any time. Okay. And I see a question. We have 2 keys currently. How do we know what needs improvement to earn 3? Another question that I really like. So again, the evaluations are strictly confidential. That information is not shared outside of the inspector team. But they do consider the 3 key designation to be the most exceptional, and they award that distinction the least. Okay. Oh, I'm so happy to hear that your 1 key plaque arrived this week, Florian, and that it looks beautiful. Okay. And I see, do you inspect all the hotels on tablet and assign keys? So the inspectors do both, exactly. So the inspector is the team, the inspectors are responsible for evaluating all of the hotels in the selection and also for assigning keys. Yes.
Lots of questions.
Yeah, really good questions here. All right. Well, last chance to ask a question during our call, but please, again, feel free to respond to that invite that you received, and we'll be able to answer any other questions that you may have regarding the process. All right. Well, I'll leave it there, everyone. Thank you again for joining us. And I hope you have a great rest of the day and a great travel week ahead. We hope to see you in some other sessions. Take care.